Today I'm talking about the God of Magic skin and the actual comic run it's from because it's one of my favorite Doctor Strange runs. It's the 2015 Doctor Strange run called God of Magic, which technically relates to both Loki and Steven being the gods of magic because they have their own little things, but 2015 Doctor Strange is when Doctor Strange actually loses the title of Sorcerer Supreme. He does this because he enters a Sorcerer Supreme wizard duel thing and loses to Loki, who is just kind of standing there doing nothing. He's literally has his AirPods in and can't hear you. AirPods didn't exist then, but AirPods did exist then. Anyway, he's listening to music and he literally pulls his headphone out and then he's like, oh, I guess congrats, you're the Sorcerer Supreme now. So Loki is Sorcerer Supreme and Steven goes back to being a veterinarian for the most part. He's not happy about it, but he does begrudgingly do it. You kind of get the fun little Sorcerer Supreme Loki shenanigans. They're taking their role weirdly seriously in a way that everybody thinks they're up to something, but it's then explained later on that he actually did it so that Steven could get powerful while he didn't have to worry about protecting the earth, which could be a lie because it is Loki, but also because it's War of the Realms era, it is probably very true that that is in fact what he was doing, because Loki has their hands in War of the Realms in a lot of different places. So we get the subplot of 2015 Doctor Strange run, which is there is a locked door in the Sanctum Sanctorium and Loki wants to know what's behind it. So it's a lot of trying to break in through this door. He uses weapons, he uses his magic, he just cannot get past this door and he doesn't understand why. And it gets to the point where Steven actually confronts him about it because he's like, don't go back there, you don't want to, don't do it. And while they're fighting over it, Stephen Strange's dog Bats is killed by Loki's magic because Loki surrounds him to try to keep him out of the fight, and it is too much for his little body and he dies. And Loki actually gets really upset about it, and obviously Stephen is also very upset about it. And it's a very sad moment, and Bats deserved better. And then Stephen goes to the Sentry and wakes him up, which is not great, not good. And Sentry ends up helping Stephen sneak into Asgard, which is now under the rule of Odin's brother Kull, who is the god of fear and all of that. So it's a little bit hard to sneak past anyone to get to Yggdrasil, which is the ultimate goal of Stephen, is to get to Yggdrasil to steal the magic from it. Whenever this man has an existential crisis, he goes to Asgard to fix his problems. It happened in 2015 and it's happening this year too. They're installing a Sorcerer Supreme title on Asgard, which will go to Stephen right now and will probably go to Loki after if they feel like it, because Sculpt Loki is away and I don't know what they want. But they just dropped the title of king and ruler of Jotunheim, so they will probably become the Sorcerer Supreme of Asgard because they are now not in charge of Jotunheim. Wahoo! Comic lore. That's a lot of words that probably don't matter if you don't read the comics. Steven sneaks past everybody and gets to Yggdrasil, and he sits down and he's like, I guess I'll just steal what I want, because he comes with a hatchet and a bag, fully prepared to just take the power he needs, and he ends up talking to Yggdrasil, and Yggdrasil says that an offering would be just fine, and he gives Bats' body over to Yggdrasil in return, becoming the god of magic, which is what the skin is in Marvel Rivals. But that's where his line, the I can see everything, I am everything, so much more than a sorcerer, I don't even think I'm mortal anymore, no, I am the god of magic, and now I am going to get my cloak back, is from. But he does this because he thinks that Loki is going to harm Zelma, who is his assistant and the girl he's in love with. And he goes and gets that power to fight Loki to get his cloak and his house and his title of Sorcerer Supreme back. And it ends up that they don't really need to fight each other because the void of Steven's negative emotions, which I've done a short on before, I'll link it somewhere here, is what they end up fighting. And in the aftermath, Loki ends up giving Steven back the Sorcerer Supreme cloak and title and house and girlfriend, and says that it was all part of an elaborate plan to get ready for the War of the Realms. He also gives him his dog back as a little ghost, as a I'm sorry. So Bats is still a ghost to this day and is okay, considering. It's one of those things that it came up, but they never really bring it back up because there's just so much stuff that's happened from then till here. He's, Steven's died twice, he's become a vampire. He lost his title of Sorcerer Supreme to Doom again, so now he is going to be Sorcerer Supreme of Asgard. Because why not? Because he gets an existential crisis and does that. I'm excited for it, I promise I am. It's just, He always does this. So that is the explanation of the run, very briefly, of what the God of Magic skin is in Marvel Rivals, if you were curious, so you don't have to read the run, because I've already done it. If you like this, and you want to see more like this, and you want me to explain any more Marvel Rival skins, if they have a comic background, I will do that for you. Remember to stay geeky.